I'm silent. I don't speak. Communicates with his best friend and girlfriend via video chat. The movie, based on real events, begins with drinks beer and smokes in front of the computer. A teenager, Fran. Suddenly, his father, Louis, enters the room. It's early for him to get up, and the loud noise prevents him from falling asleep. The teenager roughly gnaws at the old man to get rid of him. But the father does not leave. He tries to talk to his son while his friends are patiently waiting. In the morning, the insomniac and irritated Louis goes to work to manage the store. The obedient son is having fun at this time. Having scored at school, he smokes with friends, listens to music, drinks, and caresses the girl. Later, the father is informed that Fran has long abandoned his studies, and then they call from the hospital and ask to pick up the kid. He got involved in a fight. The man has to go to the reception room, where his parents are already waiting for Migo, Fran's friend. They speak in the spirit that Fran has a bad influence on their child. Waiting for the end of the examination, Louis takes his son. He tries to talk to him on the way home, but in the underground garage, he breaks down and wants to leave. The man catches up with his son, but the teenager shouts at him and hangs up his coat, after which he runs away. When Louis returns home in the evening, his son is no longer there. He went to the disco to have fun with friends, dance, drink, sniff banned substances. The father alone lights candles on a holiday cake. The son is 17 years old. Worrying that he cannot find a common language chat, Louis Googles ways to communicate with teenagers on the internet. He comes across an ad for the Simca program, a special psychological correction for aggressive behavior. Parents of difficult teenagers share their experience of how difficult it was for them to communicate with children before, and how easy it became after. After watching the videos, Louis does not notice how time flies. And at night, a crazy friend wanders around the corridor. The guy freezes at the open door to his father's room, but he turns off the light to avoid another unpleasant conversation. The next day, Louis goes to the Simca presentation. The imposing coach pushes an inspiring speech about how discipline will help to instill in spoiled children real values and a desire for a successful business. While he listens to the speech, the son hangs up on the phone, drinking alcohol. Immediately after the speech, the mother crosses herself off from her friend, and the girl hints that they did not have anything serious, so it is not good to build far-reaching plans. The upset friend continues to pour grief. It is in the evening that the father catches him. At night, two specially trained people drag a half-naked teenager out of the bedroom. He fights back, rumbles, shouts, and calls for his father. But Louis has already prepared a suitcase with things and escorts his son to the door of the boarding school. The guys are thrown into a minivan and taken along a picturesque serpentine far from the city. There he is met by Father Oscar, the head of the educators. The man is dissatisfied that the newcomer is barefoot and half-naked. Educators must show discipline and act dressed. He also does not like the handcuffs on the teenager. Oscar orders them to be removed. The friend perceives this gesture as friendly and calls for the guard. But the educator instantly restores the social hierarchy. He twists the arrogant child's hand, pokes his face into the wall, and reads the basic rules, among which there is an obligatory respectful silence in the presence of the elders. The right to speak is a privilege. Fran is cut to pieces, given a uniform, and taken to the rest of the group. Children with bloody marks on their chin watch daily videos. They greet the newcomer with a rehearsed speech. When Fran tries to talk to the neighbor, Father Oscar presses the pause button, and the kids jump in instead, declaring the rule of silence. Discouraged by such cohesion, the hero is embarrassed and looks around, realizing that they will not be able to talk to him here. Further discipline includes strictly regulated useful work for the benefit of society, collecting clothes, as well as group lunches in the canteen. Fran looks at the newcomer, trying to learn the text of the obligatory shouts. They are shown videos on TV, in which psychologists introduce theses about acceptable behavior. Among the educators, Father Nando also stands out. Oscar makes him a complaint for appearance and chewing gum, which he gives as a bad example to the educators. The teenagers also talk to a psychologist who asks them not only about secret fears, but also about their relationship with their parents. Fran admits that she misses her father, but he is upset by the fact that Louis never really showed patriotic love, including to his mother, who left the family when he was little. The pedagogical staff of the boarding school, led by Oscar, discuss the upcoming Day of Freedom, a holiday for the educators intended to show what their life can be like outside the institution. Nando, as a newcomer, does not know what it is, and his colleagues make fun of him, to which he responds with a pathetic speech. Later, during lunch, Nando gets angry at one of the pupils and beats him on the table, while the other children hurriedly eat, pretending that nothing is happening. During the educational process, Nando gets carried away and pours pepper gas into the child's eyes. The director of the boarding school does not like this. Rich parents pay money not to injure their children. Oscar manages to close the case, avoiding a light accusation by his subordinate, who hits him in the face on the table. Soon, Fran successfully learns the rules. However, he is not yet familiar with the punishments, so once after the break, he gets out of the room. Unnoticed by the guards, he goes down to the floor below, where he finds a department of sensory deprivation, complete or partial isolation from the outside world. Even simple conversations are prohibited here. In one of the rooms, the hero sees a teenager tied to a skating rink. His eyes and ears are closed, leaving him alone with his thoughts. Fran removes the mask and headphones from him, and the poor guy shouts to kill him out of mercy. Fran runs back, but the guards notice the escape from the bedrooms. An alarm is raised. The hunt begins for him. The hero hides in the corner, and when the guard enters, he rushes at him and beats him into a bloody mess until the help has twisted him. For this act, Oscar's father sentences the entire group to punishment. Children are put face down, resting their chin on the floor. While they are lying motionless, the supervisors turn on the lights and play loud music. The situation is reminiscent of the Pokemon episode that causes epilepsy. After being punished, Fran gets her bloody mark on her chin. At the same time, the parents of the children are preparing for their own rehabilitation program led by psychologist Helena. Luis says that he can't find a common language with his son, to which the doctor replies that the dialogue is a two-way participation. Therefore, not only children must learn to be obedient, but parents must also participate in their lives. As a successful example, Helena brings Sandra and her parents. The girl has finished the program. Adults tell how their life has changed after the return of their daughter. But the story ends with the fact that the girl has peed, and the mother takes her away. Returning home, Luis, as advised by the psychologist, enters his son's room. On his computer, he watches a music video in which his son is fooling around with his friends. Luis himself is among the shots. He secretly took a snapshot of him at work. The video makes his father smile, and the next morning, he goes to the boarding school to pick up his son. However, Oscar shows him a video with the beating of a guard and convinces him that Fran is not yet ready to adapt to society. When watching the next video, the young man lets go of the joke that the teachers hear. The group is led to another punishment. For not paying attention to the repeated theses over and over again, they have to spend more than a day on their feet, with their hands tied and their eyes blindfolded. Only the one who lasts the longest will pass the test. The rest will be sent to the sensory insulator. Those who sit on the jacket are taken out by the guards. At the same time, the parents undergo another training for mutual understanding. Luis gets to know Sandra's parents better. They worry about their daughter's mental health, but hope that the training will help. The next day, the remaining teenagers are fed, but the portions are one less than the prisoners. Not being able to agree, the children swear, and the guards take all the food from them. Closer to night, when the second day began, Helena comes to the cage. The woman shoots the guys on video to collect evidence of the brutality used in the boarding school methods. She is caught by Tananda and taken to Oscar, but the head does not see anything wrong in the leak of data. All these methods are legal. On the third day, Fran is the last one left on her feet and returns to a measured life on schedule. Meanwhile, Luis establishes a warm relationship with Sandra's mother. They have lunch together. Their acquaintance grows into romantic interest. But at the same time, when she kisses Luis in the car parking lot, her daughter watches Helena's posted video torture. Unable to withstand the memories of the past, the girl throws herself off the roof, right in front of her father's eyes.
В сцене они молча едут в машине к какому-то дому. Луис выходит, чтобы отдать хозяевам документы. Из-за угла обзора не видно, кому именно. Когда они отъехали, Фрэн спрашивает, мама ли это была. Вместо ответа отец выходит из автомобиля и идет под дождем прочь. Сын догоняет его, и они стоят вместе, обнимаясь и пряча слезы в дожде.
All this leads to the fact that at a certain moment Fran rebels. He freezes on the spot and does not leave the canteen.